At Glen Helen, Suzuki's Ryan Dungey came away with his 4th career overall victory. But a trio of former World Championship contenders quickly adapted to AMA racing and served notice to the rest of the field that they will be title contenders. Youth was served as precocious rookie Justin Barcia put in maybe the day's top ride, leading 17 laps and capturing 6th overall in his pro debut. We are set to drop the gate and go racing from Hangtown. Round 2 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship starts right now. From Northern California, it's the Dirt Diggers North Hangtown Classic, the 41st annual edition, round 2 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Jason Wygant joined by 4-time AMA National Champion David Bailey. A phenomenal race in the books from round 1 in Southern California, and we expect this 250 class to deliver again here at Hangtown, David.
Yes, and you know, there were some guys that had kind of a tough day, and I expect those guys to be back up in there and perhaps make the racing even better. The Pro Circuit team, although they got a Moto win with Pourcel, you see 377 there to the left of the screen, and a pretty good run from Rattray in the second. I just think as a team, it was probably a little bit of a disappointment, and probably Mitch Payton giving one of those Bobby Knight talking tos. I would expect those guys to come out and do a good ride. Searle right there, number 123, a couple of 4s. For a decent overall finish. I think he might have shaken off the nervousness. You know, both he and Rattray haven't raced in a while, and they've never raced here. So, but Dungey, he's just so tough. You know, I don't know that he really needed to see where he was. That was more just a habit in interviews, but he came out looking like a veteran and rode like one and got the win he deserved.
It was unbelievable how close this field was. We'll go and look at the point standings after round 1 has now been put into the history books. Dungey has a solid lead over Pourcel because Pourcel won the first Moto of the day and struggled in Moto 2. But what that really means is these guys are so close on speed that the points can get mixed up in the same exact way here in round 2. But let's check in with the points leader, Ryan Dungey.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, everybody's kind of, after the guy on top, I feel. And, I think going 2-1 last weekend was good. It was the first round, got to see where everybody was at, and got to see where I was at, too, So that's good for us to go home and work on that kinds of stuff and come back here on the weekend and hopefully did our homework right and come in and give it another shot.
Dungey only seems to know one thing, and that's work. Whether it's a successful race or a bad one, he always puts in the same amount of effort.
Yeah, he's always going to be strong. He had some rookie stuff, but it seems like that's all behind him now, and he's strong. I thought he was going to be strong. I thought the Europeans, or the foreigners rather, were going to come over and kind of feel things out. That all happened. What did surprise me, though, was Barcia. Not that he got the whole shot and checked out, because I said, that could happen. But what surprised me was that he was able to lead for that long with that much pressure. And there you see him right there, number 151. And this kid has been impressive the whole moto, not just in the beginning.
Well, I think everyone was surprised and amazed with the riding of that rookie in his first pro race. He's here for his second effort. Before we go racing, let's check in and get to know Justin Barcia.
Oh, it's incredible. The team, Geico Power Sports Honda, is great. Our bikes are incredible this year. Just so happy with my bikes and my mechanic. Schneike does a great job. He's from New York and so am I, so we've known each other for a long time.
The expectation is for him to win races, and he definitely will win races. But for a rookie to come in that kind of competition and be able to do that on the day, yeah, it was a surprise. Definitely above expectations.
And Justin Barcia is in the lead in his first official lap ever as a pro.
Yeah, I went home and watched the race from last weekend about 20 times and tried to learn stuff, but I definitely learned a few things. My speed was great. I didn't know really where I was at because I've never ridden with these fast guys, and I was happy with my speed up front, and it was really good.
I think it's one of those deals where if the guy has control of his job and understands what his goal is and where his mistakes may be or not be, he can put it together. You don't want to do anything that will curtail that advancement. So definitely let him go, let him ride the way he wants to ride, and it'll all get it better from here.
Last week we made the joke Justin Barcia they should put on the back of his pants, fast learner. We're going to see how much he learned from leading all those laps at round 1 at Glen Helen, and we'll see if the sophomore jinx will strike him or not. Our parade lap is underway for Moto 2, and we're going to be back with highlights of a spectacular first Moto from here at Hangtown, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's the Dirt Diggers North Hangtown Classic, round 2 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Today we're going to watch the 250 class. Riders are at the gate for Moto number 2. We already have a phenomenal Moto number 1 in the books. Jason Wygant and David Bailey here to take you through the highlights of what was yet another classic duel at Hangtown. Gate drops here in the first Moto of the day. Christophe Pourcel on the green machine is going to get the whole shot, but it's quickly that number 151, the spectacular rookie of Justin Barcia, out front again, David.
A nice move around the inside to get around his teammate Canard and Pourcel to actually beat him to that white line. Pourcel just sat back there, let him have that gap, let all that muddy roost fly for a little while, and once he realized that Barcia wasn't able to just keep getting away from him, he was able to close the gap. But big problem for the winner last week. Dungey went down in the second corner, had to come from dead last. See him working through the pack here, taking on a lot of that rock and roost. A lot of hard work and a lot of energy expended to get his finish.
Third place rider was Trey Canard. He challenged Pourcel for second early, but eventually Pourcel was able to shake him. And then in the final 10 minutes of the Moto, Pourcel put his head down and went after Barcia. But Barcia put up a fight, a little bit better fight this time than what we saw at Glen Helen.
Well, you see from that shot just back there, he was styling it in the lead the whole time. I have not seen him ride any different in the lead than he rides, when he's not in the lead. See him looking over a little bit too much, trying to cover the move of Christophe Pourcel, but Pourcel was a little too strong. Watch Barcia. Dang it! I wanted that one. I was that close, and Pourcel's just taking it easy.
Pourcel, he puts out as little energy as possible. Barcia rides with as much energy as possible. There are your results from Moto 1. Pourcel, Barcia, Canard, a quiet third, and Dungey from last all the way up to 7th. A lot of points for him. Let's go down to Aaron for the pre-race report on the starting line. Aaron?
The number 411 of Tyla Rattray got 4th during that first Moto. He said that was decent results, but he's expecting a lot better. He said the conditions here at Hangtown resembles the MotoGP. They're extremely rough. He said it may work to his advantage. He said he wasn't able to ride until this past Wednesday, though, because he hasn't raced since last October, and his back end was so sore he wasn't even able to ride. So he's hoping for some better results here in Moto number 2.
There's a look at Mike LaRocco just over the shoulder of Christophe Pourcel back there, checking things out behind Tyler Wharton. He's, of course, been part owner of that team, the Factory Connection team, ever since this beginning. And you see Barcia right there raising his hand, going, don't start this Moto yet. He's got it fired up, but sometimes that helps you get a better start. You got to go to the restroom or your bike won't start, something happens, and you're just in the right mood. You don't have to make that transition to being wide open like you need to be into that first corner.
I want to go back to that progressive pre-race report by Aaron. Sounds like Tyla Rattray literally rode his tail off at Glen Helen, so he had to take a couple of days off to rest. Rattray had not raced since October until we went racing last week, so now that he's got a race under his belt, we'll see how he does. I don't think that first Moto was exactly the way he wanted it to end up. Finished up solid in 4th.
A little better than Glen Helen.
Yeah, exactly.
He was 5th in the first Moto, Glen Helen, 4th here. Let's check out Barcia, see if he can do it again.
Here we go. And a terrible start for Barcia, a great one for Dungey. So Barcia, along with Austin Stroupe on the 981, they tangle, and they're way back in the pack. Meanwhile, it's Dungey and Blake Wharton on the 61 up front. So the first bad start of the season for Barcia. Pourcel is there in 3rd, and Pourcel almost tangled with Wharton, and that allows Metcalfe on the 24 to take over 3rd. Dungey almost throws it away in the lead.
That's how fast you have to go to win this class now. You have to be on the edge like that, and when it's watered a little bit in the early laps, keep that dust down. I mean, it's a little sketchy in the first couple laps, but much better for the entire Moto. Dungey he got sideways twice there, and the first time he did it, he almost took out a couple guys behind him.
You can see there is standing water all over this track. That's just to keep the dust down later on, like you said, Dave, but that makes for very slippery going in the early laps. But Dungey doesn't have time to worry about that. Dead last off the start in Moto 1. Here in Moto 2, the exact opposite. He's out front. He wants to pull away.
This looks like a sprint. It looks like he's going for a one-lap qualifying deal for $1 million. He's giving it all he's got, and he's got this young kid, Wharton. He just joined the pro ranks like Barcia, trying to fit his helmet over all that hair he's become famous for. but he's very casual out there on the racetrack. Tyler Wharton and Christophe Pourcel running second and third right now. Both have a very casual body language compared to Dungey out front. He's just very animated and charging, starting to pull a little gap already.
Well, those Honda riders have been up front with every start this year, and it's not just Wharton. Trey Canard, who is third in Moto 1, is in fourth. Here comes Wharton, here comes Pourcel, here comes Canard. You got to remember the overall, too. Both motos count together. They will add up the points from both. Dungey with 7th in Moto 1 is going to be hard-pressed to emerge the overall winner here, but a lot can happen early in this moto. You've got the 87 of PJ Larson, yet another rookie coming through on the green machine, the Kawasaki. And then we see Rattray coming through. Rattray just inside the top 10. These guys are going to sort themselves out. The lines will change quite a bit early in this race because of all the track maintenance. This track is going to get rough very quickly.
Yeah, it's already rough. Look at all the different lines you have to choose from as well. There's Metcalfe, had a pretty solid first moto. There was some speculation he might be favoring a wrist, but from what I've seen from him as far as the aggression that he's bringing to the races here, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He's right there in the top 5 early on. We'll see if Dungey is able to get away from Wharton and Pourcel. Pourcel seems to charge in measured doses. We've seen a couple races, including the first moto today, where he was kind of content to let Barcia pull the early lead. He knew the race would eventually come back to him. We'll find out if it does. How about PJ Larson, who is struggling just to get in the top 10 the first couple motos of the season? Now he wants into the top 5. He's all over Metcalfe. Metcalfe 5th, Larson in 6th. Nice line by Larson. Take an inside line as they head downhill. They're going to go back up. That's
so
a pretty
many
tricky line
good
there.
ruts. Yeah, there's the inside is a little crooked and hard to get to. Not as good of an exit. So these guys have created a middle one. And what's great about the dirt here at Hangtown, they've added a lot of topsoil, and it's enabled these guys to form a new line pretty quick. Just going past our screen, I noticed Barcia, he is already up into 13th. And he was pretty much last going into the first corner.
And there you see the 981, the green bike going by. That was Austin Stroupe, the rider he tangled up with. That was just a bad jump off the gate for Barcia. There was nowhere to go.
It looked pretty good, but I think he was on a wheelie and had to back out of it just a touch, and then he got closed out and banged bars with that was a good save from Austin Stroupe.
I'm impressed. Dungey's doing what Barcia did in the first moto. You see these riders battling. They are appalling, yet somehow Dungey able to put a gap on them already. It's just over 2 seconds. Less than 5 minutes into this moto. You see the clock at the top of your screen. This will run 30 minutes and then an additional 2 laps. So we're just getting started here, but Dungey is on fire early on, Dave.
Yeah, he's looking good. And no, he didn't get the 1-1 that he probably would have liked to have gotten last week, but I think when you look at how deep the talent runs in this class, it's possible somebody can put together a 2-3 or a 1-4 or something and still pick up the overall. But today, he just has to erase that loss of points he had in the first moto with a 7th. If he goes 7-1, that might put him in the top 3 overall and help him tremendously in the points champ.
Well, Dungey is mentally tough. That was the last part of the game he had to work on, trying to seal the deal on championships. He's definitely going to try to make up whatever points he lost in the first moto today. Dungey leads early. Stay with us from Hangtown.
This Thursday.
Welcome back to Hangtown, just outside of Sacramento, California. Ryan Dungey leading the second moto of the 250 class. And it is close. Dungey put in a sprint early, but Blake Wharton on the number 61, the red Honda back there, going to try to keep him in sight.
You know, just a year ago, just a little bit over a year ago, I was at an amateur national qualifier in Denver, and Wharton was there dominating everything. It was a super rutted track, kind of up and down the hills, similar to this, where we'll be racing a national pretty soon at night. And Wharton is doing the same thing again here, except against the best in the world. And it's amazing to me to see him just go from the amateur ranks and just come up and have this kind of a performance so fast. Barcia's done the same thing. Dungey did a similar thing. I mean, the amateur national championships these days are producing some amazing talent.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but Dungey, our leader, is 19 years old. It's his 3rd year as a pro, and he is considered the veteran of this 250 class because the guys chasing him right now, like Wharton, he's been a pro for less than 1 year, David.
He got into that off-camber berm so fast. Look at that, just on the power. They did a little bit of grooming on the track between motos, but I mean, they didn't smooth it all the way out, just a couple of spots, and the pace picked up so much. These guys are an all-out sprint right now, but I still have a feeling, because Pourcel is that close, 377 just back there, still in touch with Dungey. I think at the later part of the race, proven that he can just find some speed and still win.
We're going to have a counter on the show how many times we can say the crafty Frenchman, but this is exactly the way he seems to play it every time. Now watch the red bike coming through here. That is Justin Barcia. He's got great starts and lead laps in every moto so far this year. Finally here in the 4th moto of the season. He starts terribly, but that really hasn't held him back much. He is in 9th place, and we're just getting started. He has closed in on the 87 of PJ Larson, who, remember, was right up front with the leaders early. Barcia is going fast even with the bad start.
He is on the move, and that was the question I think that everyone had. Of course, you know, I was wondering, let's see, bad start. What's he going to do now? Is he going to be a little bit of a rookie and get in a rush, make mistakes, or is he just going to go through the pack and pack? There you go. That is unbelievable.
I didn't even know that line could work.
Yeah, Larson was just in the way.
Yeah. Now the rider right behind him, that's the KTM, the orange bike behind Larson. That's another rider who just turned pro, like Barcia. That's Max Anstey out of England. They're actually going to change the rules. Right now, you can turn pro at age 16. But next year, you'll have to be 17 before you turn pro. Then in 2011, the age limit will be moved up to 18. So riders like Anstey are trying to grandfather themselves into the pro ranks. Barcia, I think, makes the case that there are some 16 and 17-year-olds that can put it on fast.
Yeah, he's proven that. You know, as we look at him, he does a couple little swaps here and there. I think, you know, and I said it at the very beginning of the race when Dungey was doing that, right through here, in fact, you have to go that fast. I just haven't seen Barcia enough in this situation, and not a panic, but a bigger hurry than he was in the first moto to get up there where he wants to be. I think he's got to be a little careful, keep things in perspective here, and not charge real hard and try to pick up one more position and fall and lose 10 positions. You know, if he shows some maturity here and can get up there and get a solid moto finish, like what Dungey did in the first moto, that's going to show a lot, and his competitors a lot.
Well, yeah, we already talked about how on the edge he was when he was out front, so I shudder to think what would happen if he has to come through traffic, and that's what he's doing right now, closing in on Broc Tickle, who is solid in the Star Racing Yamaha 6th in Moto 1. He's running 6th here in Moto 2, but here comes Barcia in 7th, coming after the young rider from North Carolina. Meanwhile, Dungey trying to hold off Pourcel and Canard. Morton has actually lost a little bit of time up front. But here is Barcia, the man on the move. He has made a lot of passes in just over 10 minutes of this moto, and I think he's proven at this point that fitness is not really the issue. Remember, he was strong right down to the very last corner of moto number 1.
That young,
yeah.
You don't get tired. You just get excited. And he's working on Broc Tickle right now. Broc Tickle was 6th in the first moto, so I mean, he's starting to get into some riders that are fast and proven. This time he decides, okay, well, he's on the outside line, I'll take the inside line.
Oh, no, Tickle looks over and says, that's not going to work. So Barcia says, well, I'll just try this. Tickle tries to get him back. Nice job by Tickle to anticipate. So they went back and forth a couple of times.
Now he's under Tickle's skin now, though. He's let him know. Barcia doesn't hesitate. He's a lot like Stewart in that regard, where he just goes for it. Even if it's a line where I might lose some time, he's making a lot of noise back there, and Broc's probably like, where is he? What line should I take? Because he's going to run a wheel in anywhere he can. He doesn't wait around for a good spot.
He's under his skin like a Tickle. There's Tickle in 6th. He's actually been able to hold Barcia at bay. Barcia, I don't think, is the most patient rider. Whoa! Now that's how you hurt yourself right there. Did he miss the run or he hit a slick spot?
There's
what happened
not much
there?
of a line right there. It looked like there was a berm, but there wasn't one. And you could see Larson get hung up just behind these guys, got sideways. Here we go.
Yeah, Barcia able to take advantage of that. He goes to the inside in a big sweeper. Tickle has proven to be very stubborn. He's going to try to use an inside line for the right-hander. There's only one line at the top of that hill. Barcia has it, and that means he has the number 6 spot.
Now, you're not going to move Barcia out of the way. He's going to move more people this year than Mayflower. This kid does not back down from anybody.
All right, so he's closing on the top 5 now. We go back up front and get in touch with our leaders. Ryan Dungey has led this thing from the get-go, which is a big change from the first moto. Remember, he was down in turn 2 and had to make a lot of passes. See if any of these guys can keep in touch with him. You can see 7th place rider, Tickle, trying to keep up with Barcia, who's headed toward the front. But I don't know if they're going to be able to catch this guy. He looks good, Ryan Dungey. Stay with us. Get hooked on 2 all-new episodes of Wrecked, a series of dangerous rollovers puts O'Hare to the test. And when Bill leaves town, Marcy is left to deal with the wreckage on her own. Don't miss Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane, Thursday night beginning at 10 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Welcome to the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, part of Ally, the Alliance of Action Sports. We're watching the second moto of the 250 class. Jason Wiegand and David Bailey breaking it down and trying to break down our leader, Ryan Dungey. Right now is Christophe Pourcel. He has climbed to the number 2 spot, and David, he is closing the gap.
On the last lap, he took over second, and then it seems to have decided, I'm not going to follow anymore. I need to get up there. Wharton had a couple little mistakes and a couple of laps where he just lost the pace a bit. Pourcel took advantage of it, and in the process turned a faster lap than Dungey by almost a full second. And Dungey knows all about that. These guys, they don't just need to see the signal board from their mechanic once a lap. There's plenty of spots where right there, coming out of the corner, he can glance over and see Pourcel coming in. He knows this could be shaping up. So if he doesn't lay down a couple of solid laps right here and try to put Pourcel away, it's going to be a battle.
I was going to ask you about Wharton, who was in second, really pushing the pace. Wharton's not one of those guys that you usually see. One of those guys that looks slower than he actually is, but he really looks to be hanging it out. You think the pace maybe got to him a little bit? Was he pushing over the edge?
Sometimes you do a couple little moves at a fast pace, and you're like, wow, that was close. And then you kind of go, let me be smart here and not throw away a potential top 5, and that's where he sits right now. And but his teammate Barcia might have something to say about that towards the end of the race. But Wharton may have just decided, I can't hold off my teammates right now, Canard and Metcalfe, and it might be the case with his next teammate. But it's better to be safe than sorry in this position when you're in a top 5 like that. That's a lot of points.
And don't count out the third place rider, Trey Canard. You just got a glimpse of him on the red bike. He works as hard as anyone. He was third in the first moto, was able to shadow Pourcel for a couple of laps. And he's about as close as you see to Pourcel as Pourcel is to the leader, Dungey. So don't count out Trey Canard. The kid's in great shape, and he does not give up. He would love to win this thing. His trademark phrase is he always gives it 200% no matter where he is on the racetrack. He's in a good position on that track right now.
And 200% these days seems to net you third. Yeah. So you might have to up that to 210%.
Okay.
I love the fact that we got a Suzuki out front, a Kawasaki in second, some Hondas, and then a Yamaha with Broc Tickle back there to 7th. So everybody getting involved here.
Dungey has that red plate, by the way, because he's the points leader in this series. We theorized after he went down early in Moto 1 that red plate was adding a little extra weight to the bikes, but he's turned that around here in Moto 2 if he can hold on with Pourcel. And we're looking at third place rider Canard, young rider out of Oklahoma, won a Supercross championship in his rookie season last year, but his tour of the motocross circuit was cut short when he broke his leg, so he has not put in a full season of outdoor AMA Pro Motocross yet. He hopes to be able to log all the motos this year. We go back to Tickle, who is in 7th, and then you've got PJ Larson 8th, Tyla Rattray is 9th, and Tommy Searle in 10th. So the riders that are coming over from the European Motocross Championship 9th and 10th, it's not where they want to be right now.
Yeah, I'm looking from 1st back to Barcia in 6th. They're all running within a second. I mean, the pace is fast, and there's so many guys so close. There's not a lot of ground being made up right now, and it seems like Dungey may have responded to the gap closing down from Pourcel. I thought he needed to pick it up a little bit and sort of send a message back there to Pourcel, like, oh, you're catching me? Oh, okay, let me fix that. And if you're in second and that happens, you start to question yourself a little bit.
Well, that's exactly what you said, David. These guys have eyes in the back of their head. They can look over when they need to. They know where they are. We'll be right back. Speed and by Rocky Mountain MC. Welcome back to Hangtown. Ryan Dungey has, for the moment, weathered the storm of Christophe Pourcel, who was putting in a charge in the number 2 spot. Dungey has led every lap of this race. But remember, there are 2 points-paying motos out here, and you take the scores from both to determine the overall winner for the day. And Dungey with a 7th in Moto 1, not looking so good for that overall win. There's the parents of Ryan Dungey. Dungey comes out of Minnesota, which is not really a hotbed of motocross simply because of the weather. In the amateur ranks, Dungey was good but not outstanding, and he says really a lot of that was in the wintertime he couldn't ride, and they would just kind of show up to the races and see what they had and then go back home and put the bikes in the garage for the winter. So that family has sacrificed a lot trying to find a way to get their son to the races, to find a way to get their son to practice, and there's no doubt that they are determined.
original extreme sport, and it's also just such a great family sport. And there's a great example. He's got a couple brothers. One of them races. One of them's a pretty good artist and actually designed some helmets for Ryan. So they're all involved, and I'm sure there was a little bit of a letdown the first moto, but he really limited the damage and rode hard, and he's coming back and putting a period on the day with a fine performance. I think what happened, Pourcel was going to go for it and try to see if he could get around him, and once Dungey responded to that challenge, it looks like Pourcel decided, okay, I got first in the first moto, I can get second here and win the overall. Let me just opt for that. Dungey was aware of it. He only needed to put in a couple laps, like I was saying, to force Pourcel into that strategy.
But the only battle then for the overall might be Canard versus Pourcel, though Pourcel with a first in Moto 1 and Canard with a third. Canard would need to beat him and then put a couple riders between them. So right now Pourcel is looking good to win the overall in this thing, and I'm going to say it for the second time in this race. He is the crafty Frenchman. Don't think for a second he is not aware of that. We get a little bit further back. We got a bunch of Kawasaki riders. We got Rattray, Larson, Weimer, and Austin Stroupe. 4 Kawasaki's, 3 Pro Circuit machines, and 1 Motorsport machine. And look at Larson trying to put it back on Rattray while Weimer tries to get around Larson, going from the outside to the inside. Nice move by Weimer.
That's a lot of green. And, I'm noticing a trend with Rattray. He seems to take off and go pretty quick and just keep getting quicker. He's done that this moto as well, and he's starting to move up. And, but it's still a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, last week he went 5-2, this week 4, and looks like it's going to be tough for him to just stay in the top 10 with all this pressure.
Earlier in the day, we were talking to Grant Langston, who is a rider who had won an MX2 World Championship like Rattray and eventually made the move over to the United States and had great success here. And he says a lot of those riders in Europe, there have been different scenarios there. They've won 45-minute motos. They've won 3 motos in a day. And he said it's kind of hard sometimes for the riders coming from Europe to adapt to the 30-minute format. You have to go fast early. You can get stronger as the moto goes on, that's fine, but if you're back in the number 10 position midway through, it's too little too late. And that's kind of the situation Rattray is in right now, just busting into the top 10, 9th right now, followed by Weimer in 10th, then it's Stroupe and Larson. And Austin Stroupe, 11th in Moto 1, 11th here right now in Moto 2. I'm sure his goals were a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, then, he's still young. He's got plenty ahead of him. And last year, he won the opening round, then had to drop out of the series. So he's probably just trying to get points on the board and continue to learn at what he needs to work on during the week and just improve on that. To sit in, just on the cusp of top 10 these days is not bad. I'm sure he'd like to do better than that, but who the heck is he going to beat? Everybody ahead of him. I mean, his teammate right here almost won the Supercross championship. See his left hand guard is hanging. That's probably bugging him a little bit. Mainly when he puts his leg out for a left-hand corner, it's in his way. And the rest of the time, it's just a nuisance because you can kind of see that.
Looks like a day at the Kawasaki test track with these guys following each other around. It looks good for the environmentalists out here. We got plenty of green on the show, but here's the bad news. These guys are outside of the top 5. There's Austin Stroupe from North Carolina, now lives in California, so we can ride and test with this Kawasaki team. And it is his sophomore season. He and Trey Canard keep the amateur rank together. Right now, Canard getting better of his old rival. He is in 3rd, but there is one Kawasaki up front. In 2nd, Christophe Pourcel. He's going to try to carry the flag for those guys today and win this thing overall, while Ryan Dungey is going to try to score maximum points and win the moto. Great racing all around the top 40. Everybody out here in this 250 class is pushing the envelope. Ryan Dungey's mechanic Mark looks on, he likes what he sees. Stay with us on Speed. Dungey is your leader on a very rough racetrack in Northern California. Jason Wygant and David Bailey here to give you the call. Let's give our Lucas Oil reset, and we're going to show you exactly how this moto broke down. First, the 151 of Barcia squeezed off at the start, so it's his first come-from-behind performance of the season. Look at all that traffic in front of the rookie. Meanwhile, Ryan Dungey able to pull the whole shot and build up a lead early. He did have a challenge, though, from the 377 of Christophe Pourcel. Pourcel, at times, has been able to put some pressure on Dungey, but every time the 377 gets close, Dungey is able to find another gear and pull back away. So that's where we stand right now. Ryan Dungey with a gap of just about 5 seconds. And you see the countdown screen at the top. We are 26 minutes into a 30-minute plus 2-lap moto, so Dungey just needs to go through the motions, but there's some very fast motions that he has to go through.
Yeah, he cannot just go, okay, I think I got this.
Yeah.
You just can't, because every time you pan back, there's Pourcel waiting for him to do just that.
Okay, here's Dungey. That's a one-line section, and they come down this hill. This is how difficult it is. It's an off-camber turn. The camera doesn't pick it up. It's so close, but you're basically turning, and the ground's going in the opposite direction. We've seen a lot of guys get hung up in those ruts coming out of that corner.
And he did just a moment ago.
Right.
And because it's getting so deep, you have to get in there and get set, get your leg up and out of the way. And there's Barcia.
Still dealing with Broc Tickle.
Yeah, he probably thinks, I made that pass, man. Leave me alone. But the Tickle's going, no,
Hey.
I think I've been on the circuit for a little while. You're brand new. I belong ahead of you. And Barcia's, he just doesn't care who he's battling with. You know, he's real polite with his helmet off, walking around the pits, but on the racetrack,
wow,
he is aggressive. He doesn't care.
Oh, look at these lines by Tickle. Is doing everything he can to get by. And taste your own medicine. We talked about how aggressive Barcia was with passes. Well, Tickle was a whole lot more aggressive than we see. Barcia and Tickle looking over his shoulder.
He better.
Waiting for the payback.
Yeah, if Barcia could get close, he now has permission to move Tickle out of the way. He's like, everybody saw that, right? Okay, so if I want to pass him aggressive, I don't want to hear about it.
Hey, I've said this a million times. Don't let the name fool you. Tickle is serious. We are going to show you this pass again, and Tickle knows that he got away with one there. And hey, you got to give credit for Tickle for staying with him. It's our Geico top 10 nominee. Here's a replay, and he just bounces to the inside, David.
He was lucky he saved that, and Barcia was strong and balanced enough to not get punted right there because Broc swapped into that line and hit him pretty good. And Barcia made his pass right there, too. So Broc kind of wanted to make a point right there, like, look, I know you're new and you're fast and you're getting a lot of attention and stuff, but I'm pretty good too. He's been fast all day and he just didn't want to give that up. I love to see the heart and determination of somebody who gets past and doesn't give up, gets them back.
Now you see Tickle keeps looking over his shoulder, though. He's got to feel that shadow back there. And if there's anyone in this circuit that can move you and put an aggressive move on, it's Barcia. Tickle obviously is aware of that. Tickle, who broke his jaw on press day the day before the first round of Supercross this year, was out for a couple of months, actually got an infection in that broken jaw. So it has been a long climb back to the top for him, but that shows you just how tough these kids are in these 250 ranks. A lot of times I think it'd be mental to be able to go and hang it out after a big injury like that and risk it all again. But actually, since the moment Tickle got back on the circuit, he has been aggressive and he has been fast. Here's Barcia. See if he can put in one more charge in the waning moments of this moto. You see the 30-minute time limit is about to expire. The 2-lap board will be coming out soon for Ryan Dungey, who is trying to become the boss of this class. He was solid in the second moto 1 week ago at Glen Helen. He's doing it again here at Hangtown. Stay with us for the conclusion of Moto 2.
It's the first.
Hey, Speed viewers, load up on your iPods. Be sure to check out all the free Speed audio and video podcasts available in iTunes. Go to speedtv.com, click the iPod icon, and search Speed at the iTunes store to get your best of video clips and full audio content from your favorite shows. Get Speed on the go with Speed Podcasts. Speed on the go. That's Ryan Dungey right now. 3 laps to go here in our final moto in the 250 class, David.
It's all coming together for him. You know, he came out of that corner, he looked over to see the gap back to Pourcel. That's not getting any closer, and the lines seem to be coming together for him now. He's not fishing around for him. It's really hard to figure out where you want to go on this racetrack and then remember all of it, you know, because it changes a little bit. For him to square that corner and get out about 6 feet early, he missed all that chop coming up the hill and shaved off maybe 12, 15 feet or something, which is shorter distance, right? So it's all working for him right now. Into that inside line. A little bit off balance right there, but just checked up some not to lose a lot of time. And he's not losing any more time to Pourcel. So he can afford a little hiccup like that here and there. This places that he's riding so well, and the track is flowing for him, that is enabling him to keep this gap.
Oh, that is
That's
Austin Stroupe. Yeah, you're right, David. Austin Stroupe, who was right there in that Kawasaki freight train trying to fight his way into the top 10. Now he's just trying to fight to get up. I hope Stroupe's okay. So Stroupe is down on the 981, and you see some of the dirt diggers there that put this race on. Barcia is down the right side of your screen. Barcia and Stroupe, not sure if they came together or if that was 2 separate incidents. So now Barcia dealing with some adversity, as well as Stroupe. And Barcia's bike is all twisted up, David.
That's right, but after the finish line jump and approaching the mechanics area, you see all along to the left right there, And his mechanic's probably yelling at him, lean the bike to try. He probably wants to run over there and start it for him.
Yeah,
How
the
frustrating.
4 strokes. Oh, the visor is broken off of the helmet of Stroupe. It looks like his pants may have ripped there, so that was a hard crash. What you're mentioning as far as these 4 strokes, when they lay on their side, they'll get flooded with fuel, and then they lean the bikes over sometimes. That actually clears them out. But it's hard to do that when you're kind of shell-shocked.
Yeah, Dungey's approaching that section right now after he goes over this jump. See all the flags.
Yeah.
2 laps to go, and
Wow.
it's kind of neat to see the leader of a race to calm down like that and actually really slow down. And you know, maybe Pourcel is going to go through that section just a little bit faster, but the respect, you know, he's been in that position before, I'm sure, in his career. Young as it is, he's been there. And Stroupe had been putting, he put the move on his teammate Rattray, was moving up, and then just got swapped up right there. I saw a rider this morning crash in practice in that same spot. See, the front lever is bent down right there, so he took a pretty good tumble, and all that work to get up into 6th, 5th, whatever he was doing, battling right there with Broc Tickle, and then down the tubes, no points. What a bummer.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Even for our leader, Dungey, you saw a few mistakes here and there from Dungey. He takes it easy through that off-camber turn this time, but on a motocross track at this speed, this late in the game, anything can happen. Austin Stroupe certainly knows that. That was a rough ride. You see his trainer down there talking to him, as well as the medic at the track, Doc Bogner, with the Astor people. They do have a medic team that goes from race to race, and they know these riders intimately. They know the types of injuries that motocross riders deal with, and these kids are all pretty tough, and as vicious of a crash as that might have been, it's good to see that both Stroupe and Barcia seem to be alert and awake at the moment.
Yeah, you know, for Stroupe, those breaths he was taking leads me to believe he got the wind knocked out of him.
Okay.
And, you know, as bad as the crash may have been, or not, to have the wind knocked out of you like that, assuming that's what it was, and it looks like he's got other problems too, but man, that's the worst. You just can't breathe. And you're like, man, this is it. I can't breathe. It's awful, and just glad to see him walking away, and you know, no points. But same for Barcia. There's 20 more motos after this, so they'll have a chance to come back.
Dungey working his way through the extremely deep ruts here at Hangtown. A couple of moments he had both feet off the pegs, and that was really because there's basically no room. The ruts will get so deep late in the races that both foot pegs drag, and they'll pull your feet right off. So sometimes it's better to just take your feet off and anticipate that.
Yeah, as soon as you were saying that, you see he's on his toe on the foot peg. White flag, so he doesn't really have to push too hard this lap. He's still got, you know, a little over 5 seconds, wheeling over certain braking bumps right there, but you'll see that at times, especially in the deep ruts, these riders will scoot their feet back on the foot pegs and be almost on their tiptoes. And what that does, it's like skateboarders or people that ride BMX bikes and do tricks. You just have a better feel for the bike, and you're in more of that pounce, ready to go position, just like in basketball, playing defense, on your toes, football, all the same. It applies to motocross too. Some of these guys actually even move their foot pegs back a little bit so they can scoot their feet back and have more of their foot on the peg.
It's unbelievable how they're able to do that, and then also move back forward to use the shifter and the rear brake pedal. Suzuki has not won here in a long time, but Dungey's been a bit of a streak breaker. Kawasaki had won a bunch in a row last time out at Glen Helen. He broke that streak, and Kawasaki and KTM had won the last 8 Hangtown Classics in this class. So Dungey just broke that streak as well. So it has been a long time since a rider on a yellow machine has won here at Hangtown. Pourcel going to try to hold on and win this overall. Remember, that's what counts. 2 different motos. Dungey's going to win the moto with 7-1. Ironically enough, that's going to be almost exactly what Pourcel had in a 1-7 at our previous race at Glen Helen. So as far as the series points go, these guys are going to be almost even up after the first 2 rounds. These two have proven themselves as champions in other series. So here's what happens. If you look at the points right now, Pourcel only down by 11. Both of these guys have proven they can go the distance in a long series like this. So 11 points, that's not really a giant gap at all. Either one of these guys, you expect to be there all season long.
You know, they just find each other quite a bit. Yeah. Dungey taking one last look back as he approaches the finish. Oh, where is that guy? That crafty Frenchman, is he sneaking up on me? Because you do want to take it a little easy on the last lap, but Pourcel's close, so he can't do it. Look at Pourcel. He gained a lot just to make sure, put the pressure on Dungey, make him nervous. Maybe he goes into this corner in the front end washes, or he misses his line or stalls it.
So Dungey looks like he's going to win the Moto. He does. Ryan Dungey takes the second Moto at Hangtown, but Christophe Pourcel is your overall winner. He wins Moto 1, second in Moto 2. Pourcel takes the victory at Hangtown. Expect those two to battle week in and week out. Stay with us on Speed. We'll be back to talk to our winners.
When the work.
Welcome back. Job well done to Ryan Dungey, who wins Moto 2 here at Hangtown, but both motos count. He's going to end up off of the overall winner's circle. But as we show you, Moto 2, he proved he's strong. He comes out on top of that, but Christophe Pourcel is actually going to be your overall winner. Trey Canard, solid on the day, a pair of thirds. Rebounds from third in Moto 1, gets right back into third here in Moto 2. Tommy Searle and Tyla Rattray outside the top 5. They were 8th and 9th. Good job by Max Anstey, another rookie in 12th. And bad news for Justin Barcia and Austin Stroupe, who crashed out. Let's go down to Aaron with our Moto winner, Ryan Dungey.
Well, Ryan Dungey just told me he did exactly what he needed to do after what happened during that first Moto. Ryan, you looked like you were having way too much fun out there. You got the whole shot and just checked out.
Yeah, I was enjoying it, and it was good to get the whole shot and let every lap, and it's what I needed to do. It was a bummer in the first Moto what had to happen, but what don't kill you make you stronger. But got up here, I think Rockstar, Miki Suzuki, and my whole team.
You made some rear suspension adjustments between the first and second Moto. How much of a difference did that make on such a difficult, rough track?
A lot. You know, we made a little bit of adjustment. Rob at RG3 hooked it up pretty good, man. The bike was working, and it's a team effort. You know, I really love what I do, and it feels good to be sitting up here with a win and take one moto at a time, but hey, got to take it as you can.
Congratulations on another Moto victory.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Congratulations to Ryan Dungey, wins this Moto. But if you look at the points on the day, that bad first Moto for Dungey puts him back in third. Trey Canard finishes second with 2 third-place finishes, and Pourcel with a first and a second wins his first race of the year. And we're down on the podium with Christophe. Take it away, Aaron.
Well, it doesn't seem to matter if Christophe Pourcel is sick or not. Somehow, some way, he always manages to find a little excess speed. Christophe, it seemed as though halfway through the Moto, that's when you really started to put in a hard charge.
Yeah, you know, I know that Ryan is really fast, and you know, we work a lot with Kawasaki Monster Pro Circuit for the start, and almost got it again, and I follow Ryan all the Moto, and you know, he was pretty fast at the middle of the Moto, and I just tried to catch him at the end of the Moto, but I mean, he was pretty good, and I just want to say thanks to all the guys who walked behind me, and I'm really happy today.
It had been mentioned earlier that this track resembles a MotoGP over in Europe. Was that working to your advantage today?
Oh, you know, the track was pretty technical, and it's what I like, and many bumps, so you can see all the other rider who was behind us pretty far, so pretty fun to ride like that, and pretty fun to ride with the top guys. I like it.
Congratulations.
All right, congratulations out to Christophe Pourcel, who is your overall winner here. SpeedTV.com has the hottest picture galleries. Go to SpeedTV.com and click the camera icon and check it out on Speed. Hey, race fans, it's the weekly Grid Girl photo galleries every week on SpeedTV.com. Check it out, SpeedTV.com. Let's go back down to Aaron with our third place finisher.
Trey Canard once again makes his way up to the podium. Trey, it seems as though your confidence is back, your fitness is back. Is it safe to say you're 100% back to Trey Canard?
I'm definitely 100% back. You know, body's good, bike's good. The whole Geico Power Sports Honda team has been great this year. Planet Fitness, Unbound Energy, Fox, and Shoei helmets, Dunlop tires, Pro Circuit for exhaust. Bike's awesome. You know, putting in consistent rides, and you know, hopefully it pays off at the end of the year.
Congratulations on your hard work paying off.
It was a good first Moto from Canard last week. The second Moto was tough. His team manager, J.C. Waterhouse, said that will be the worst result of the year for him. He'll be better from here on out. Third place today. That's solid, but man, Dungey and Pourcel are going fast, David Bailey.
Yeah, they proved that. They're each champions already this year in the Supercross East and West, and taking it outdoors and just continuing their dominance. But plenty of riders that can mess it up for them.
Well, it's a struggle for a couple of other riders in the points. It might boil down to those two. We'll have plenty more racing. We'll be coming up the next race from Texas on June the 7th. It's been awesome here. For Aaron Bates and David Bailey, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to Christophe Pourcel, our overall winner.